Welcome everyone to the Delaware County Sustainability Commission meeting for October. Thank you all for being here. Let's see, before we get started, I'd like to do the roll call. So when I say your name, please say here or present. Steve Clark.
Here.
Jacqueline Rhodes. Scott Sidlow.
Here.
Jenny Sachs.
Jenny won't be hopping on tonight. She's sick.
Oh, okay. David Director.
Here.
Sean Stansel.
Here.
Cephas Hales Richardson. Crystal Gald. Okay, hold on just a minute. Okay. Francine Locke.
Here.
Ed Orner.
Here.
Mark Manfrey.
Here.
Thomas Schaefer.
Here.
Jim Warner. Is Jim Warner here? No? Okay. Ed McGargy.
Here.
Laura Goodrich Cairns.
Here.
Becca Yurkovich.
Here.
Okay. Let me just see if that's quorum here. Yeah, we have 5 public members and 4 government. So we have quorum, so that's great. Okay. Before we jump into the business of it, we just have a fun interactive question, kind of explores something fun about what we do in sustainability. So I'm just going to share my screen. In just a moment. Okay, so you can open another window in your browser or just use your cell phones. So the question today is name one way that you're reusing items before recycling. So, you know, we try to make sure that we're recycling what we can, but to get the most out of it, probably a lot of you are reusing some items before recycling them. So I'm just curious, name one way that you're reusing some items before you're recycling them. So you go to your phone or open another browser on your computer and go to www.menti.com. So it's www.menti.com. And the code is 5809-8771. So it's www.menti.com and the code is 5809-8771. Okay, so someone said grocery to doggy poop bags. So, you know, reuse those before you toss them. Plastic utensils can be washed a few times. True, like if you have plastic utensils, just let's not make them a single use, but maybe you reuse them a couple times. Wash plastic bags and reuse them. Reusing Ziploc bags. Yeah, you can probably get like a lot of use out of a Ziploc bag. Use it for a sandwich on like multiple days. Take leftover plastic takeout containers to restaurants for leftovers. Oh, and that's interesting. I guess I wasn't, I mean, I guess like if you go to a restaurant and you have extra food on your plate and you happen to like bring an extra container, that's actually a really good idea.
We go out for breakfast every other day, basically, and we always bring a leftover Chinese food container, and we always bring leftovers home from breakfast because it's always more than we can eat.
Oh, that's
so we
great.
get 2 days breakfast out of one day's restaurant, and we don't even burden them for a container.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. Every little bit that we do definitely counts a lot. Reuse glass jars for storage of smaller items around the house. Ah, very good. Wine corks for cork boards, and we have a lot of wine corks. Oh, okay, that's neat. Plastic bags are used for storage. Oh, and free cycle. Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, definitely. That's great. All right, awesome. So I think the free cycle isn't that, I thought free cycle is when like you have an item that you want to like give away for free. Is that, or is free cycle something different? Who said that? Could you
I did,
elaborate?
yeah.
Mhm.
There's also Facebook groups. There's Nextdoor has a free section just to reuse. Someone else can use it.
Oh,
for free.
okay. Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, and someone mentioned that, yeah, when you use your grocery bags for dog poop bags, that's not actually recycling, but same thing, you're reusing it before the next step of whatever that item is, whether it's trash or recycling. So I thought that was a good answer anyway. Okay, well, I thought this was helpful. I definitely learned more about, I don't bring like any kind of container with me when I go out to eat. I try to eat it all, but if I don't, I do ask for a container from the restaurant, and I should probably stop doing that. So I learned something new today, something to encourage me to do more. So, okay, let me stop sharing quickly so that I can get to the agenda and call the agenda up. Okay, I'll start sharing again. Okay. So, and I guess I failed to say, like, I'm Carol Martzoff. And I clicked my name off of off the attendance sheet. So anyway, the next item on our agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes. And by the way, before we start that, Francine or Becca, did you want to say anything at the beginning before we jump into meeting minutes?
I'm good.
I
Okay.
think we're all set. Just a reminder, today is our annual reorganization meeting. So we're going to be heavy on a lot of administrative stuff in the beginning here.
Okay. Approval of the meeting minutes. Let me bring those up on the screen. So here are the meeting minutes from our last meeting, and these were sent out ahead of time. So would someone like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting?
I'll make that motion, Carol.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ed. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, thank you, David. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so moved. Our minutes are approved from our last meeting. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of new members and review of terms and member roles.
Sure, so I can take that one. Give me one moment. We actually do have a new member, and she's actively trying to get into the meeting currently. So can everybody see? It should say appointment of new members. Okay, wonderful. And I apologize if I delay. She's actively trying to get into the meeting. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we had 4 member spots open at this time. So Carol was up for reappointment, Jacqueline was up for reappointment, Steve was up for reappointment, and there was actually a vacancy from my spot, as I had to waive my spot as I was no longer a municipal official. So each of our members was reappointed, so welcome back, everyone, as well as we do have a new member. Her name is Julie Prey. She's actually struggling to get in currently.
Becca, since she's struggling to get in, I just want to mention Jim McLaughlin. Can you go back to the prior slide?
Sure.
Or the one after that, because Jim McLaughlin just messaged me that he's not a member. It's really Jim Warner for the Let me see, is it there? Jim, you're here, you can speak up.
Well, the issue is that I was listed as a member on the minutes and I'm not a member.
Oh, thank you. So we'll make note of that on the meeting minutes and change that. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. And I've corrected that for this week.
Thanks, Sean.
Mhm.
Thank you. So I just wanted to make a note that there were a couple movements as we move to reappoint. So on the screen, you'll see everyone's existing representation as well as their terms. So notable things are, while Carol was previously an EAC member, she has taken over my spot as a municipal manager or other staff member, as she is now on her municipalities council. So with her moving there, Jacqueline Rhodes moved from a general member of the public to the municipal EAC member. And that left us with one spot open for a member of the general public. So we have Julie Prey, and I apologize, she is still trying to hop on, but I'm happy to share some stuff about her while she's logging in. So Julie is a member of the general public. She is a hospice and palliative care chaplain, so she's in the nursing field. What really sparked her interest in this role is she's very interested in local food systems as well as gardening, and has an active role with our local growers community of Delaware County. So we welcome Julie as she's hopping on, and look forward to having another new perspective with our board. I also just wanted to draw to your attention that our folks who are up for reappointment in 2023, so that's David, Jenny, and Scott. After their reappointment, everyone will be in second terms. So that's kind of exciting that we've been here for almost 3 years now. Also, just for a reminder of our government members, we have Francine Locke, our Chief Sustainability Officer, Laura Goodrich-Cairns, the Director of the Delaware County Commerce Center, Ed McGargy, still our District Manager for the Delaware County Conservation District, Mark Manfrey, Parks and Rec, Ed Orner, our Director of Facilities, Tom Schaefer is our Interim Director of Planning Department, but Fran has an update on that for us later. And finally, Jim Warner is the Interim Chief Executive Officer for the Delaware County Solid Waste Authority. Are there any questions on terms or membership roles? Fantastic. The next thing I just wanted to bring to your attention is our proposed meeting time and schedule for this year. We should move forward with a vote just to reconfirm our dates of choosing for next year. So if we were to continue with our second Tuesday or Friday, this is what our schedule would look like for next year. You'll notice the top two items in green would be our remaining meetings for this year, and then all those dates in blue would be for 2023. So with that in mind, we would need a motion to confirm the continued second Thursday and Friday at either 6 to 8 or 2 to 4, if this is the schedule folks wish to continue with.
Becca, would the meeting still be virtual?
At this time, yes. If you guys were to wish to move to in-person, that's also up for discussion. As per our bylaws, it doesn't require us to meet in person. It was written in such a way where it does allow for the virtual format. So that's really up to the commission. Is everyone still okay with continuing in a virtual format?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So with that, then all we would need is a motion to move forward with this schedule for next year.
I'll make that motion.
So Scott Tidlow, do we have a second?
I'll second.
David Director, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
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 Ready? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all. So our next item, business.
I think
I just,
the chair is supposed to
Yeah,
supervise the votes.
well, at
I-
this time, because
but-
it's the reorganization, we
Yes,
don't
exactly.
technically have a chair yet.
Right.
So Carol was kind enough to do our introduction, but as the reorganization, we're going to have to redo officers. So I'm just doing these two items. And then once we re-elect a chair, then that's when we move forward, or at least that was the intent. If that makes sense. Okay. I also just wanted to review the sustainability charge with everyone. So this is what drives this group. This is why we meet. So primarily it's to make recommendations regarding best environmental and energy practices. This year, that's largely going to come through the sustainability plan, but it also comes through other various actions throughout the year. Also, to identify and assess environmental and energy policies the county has adopted and provide recommendations to promote and educate the county's environmental and energy initiatives. Next is to identify and provide recommendations regarding voluntary actions, projects, programs for municipalities, businesses, nonprofits, and other partners to implement county environmental and energy policies. Next, the largest, as noted, for this year is to create, review, and provide ongoing input into the Delaware County Sustainability Action Plan. And finally, is to recommend triple bottom line related actions, projects, programs to council for implementation. So the next item on our agenda is the election of 2023 officers. There was an email that had gone around earlier this week, just hoping for folks to reach out if there's any interest. I know at this time we'll be looking for one chairperson that will be elected by our government officials, one elected by our public members, which thank you, Laura, for clarifying the language on that. A vice chairperson, which is elected by all, and then a secretary elected by all. At this time, we only had, so starting with the government membership, we only had interest from Francine Locke. So unless there's interest from another member in the first chairperson spot, we would need a motion for appointment.
I'll make a motion that we approve Francine Locke as the chairman for the government member section of the Sustainability Commission.
Second, Laura Goodrich Burns.
Thank you, Laura. So with a first and a second, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, sorry.
Opposed? Abstains? Motion carried. So Francine, you are our first chairperson.
Thank you.
No problem. And then for the area of our second chairperson, there was only interest shown by Carol Martzoff. So unless there's interest from anyone else, same situation, we would need a motion from a member of the public to elect Carol.
I move we elect Carol as our co-chairman.
So we have a motion by David. We would need a second from a member of the public.
Like second?
Sean Stansel. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Fantastic. So Carol or Francine as the chair, if you would proceed forward with electing a vice chair and secretary.
Carol, before we go on, Jacqueline's trying to get into this meeting. She just texted me, but she's requiring a password. So can you help?
I'm gonna log off because that's Julie was having the same problem. So
Okay,
please proceed.
I'm actually looking at the Zoom ARC page right now. I know I usually turn it off, requiring registration.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how I can do that now.
Okay, I'll handle it. Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, cool. So Carol, I think we should wait. What do you think until Jacqueline gets here?
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. All right, let me let her know she's working on it.
Thank you for your patience, everyone. It's just really important that we have Jacqueline here. And hopefully our new member can come in too.
Fran,
Yes,
if you wouldn't mind texting Jacqueline back, the passcode is set as 485557.
got it. I just,
And I apologize all. Normally we remove that setting.
no worries, yeah.
Oh, I see. Jacqueline is here now. Jacqueline, are you there?
I am.
Okay, good. Great. Okay. Should we move ahead now, Francine?
Yes,
Okay, all right, great. So the next officer for election is the vice chairperson. A description is the vice chairperson shall perform the duties and exercise the functions of the chairpersons if both are absent or unable to act, and shall perform such other duties as may be assigned by the members or chairpersons. And when Becca sent out an email asking for interest in that, Jacqueline Rhodes did express interest in that, and it seemed like she was the only person that expressed interest in that position. So would anyone like to make a motion to have Jacqueline Rhodes be vice chairperson?
I'll do that. Crystal Gold.
Okay, Crystal, thank you, Crystal. Do we have a second?
I'll make a second to that, Carol.
Okay, thank you, Ed. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so moved. Jacqueline Rhodes is the vice chairperson. The next board position is that of secretary. The secretary shall be responsible to prepare and approve minutes of all meetings of the commission and assist the chairpersons in all other duties as requested by the chairpersons. I believe Sean Stansel has interest in continuing his role as secretary. I want to confirm that's correct, Sean. I believe you
Yes,
said that you were willing to.
if
Thank
somebody
you.
else is dying to do it.
I don't think Becca got any other interest in the secretary position. So would someone like to make a motion for Sean Stansel to be secretary?
I'll move again. Crystal.
Okay,
Go.
all right. Oh, thank you, Crystal. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And who is that?
Steve.
Oh, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so moved. Sean Stansel is the secretary. Okay. So I guess now I'll share my screen to see what the next item is on the agenda. Thank you all for participating in that process.
Carol, before we move forward with the chief sustainability update, I just wanted to say that our new member Julie has hopped on. Julie, if you just want to give a brief introduction, I did share just some of the interest that was in your cover letter for your application, but if you would like to give a further introduction.
Well, hello, everybody. I am Julie Prey, and I am a hospice chaplain. So I'm out here on the road, pulling over to the side of the road for a quick hello. And yeah, I work for Mainline Health. I'm very interested in health and wellness. And of course, I just think all that stuff is related to sustainability because the climate we live in is very related to keeping us well. So thanks everybody for having me, and I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, Julie.
You're welcome.
Welcome. Okay, so now I'll share my screen. The next item on the agenda, is we did review the meeting times and the schedule for 2023. And we did review the Sustainability Commission charge, and we did go over the appointment of the officers, and we're a little bit ahead of schedule. So next is the Chief Sustainability Officer update with Francine.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to pull up my presentation. Okay. All right. Took a few more clicks than I expected. Okay. So hello, everyone again. Thank you for being here. Just a few highlights of the work that I've been participating in the past month. Of course, we're continuing with our 2023 budget preparation for the 6 departments, actually 7, because of the Office of Sustainability was created as well. And that is a tedious task. So we are still working on that. Danielle Floyd is here today as the Public Works Director. She's going to share the Capital Improvement Program budget preparation. We're working on the former Don Glen Site Advisory Committee and Master Plan Development process. So there is a lot of work being put into trying to figure out how the former Don Glen site is going to be planned with a lot of community involvement. There are advisory committee members that have been selected now through a process. I think there are 15 members, and they are meeting. There will be some public meetings coming up. So I suggest you check out the Delaware County Planning Department, actually Parks and Recreation Department's website to look for those. The Greenways Grant Program applications are in. The deadline has passed, and so I think we received about 40 or more applications this time. So we're looking forward to seeing how that goes. Just wanted to give you an update. We have a new property that has been purchased by Delaware County. It's 2 West Baltimore Avenue in Media. And so Danielle Floyd, as our Public Works Director, is working on trying to figure out how to fit in a bunch of departments that were displaced by a collapsed building that occurred several years ago in Media. So our planning department is in a building that we're renting right now. Laura Goodrich-Karen's team is in another building. So we're trying to consolidate these buildings into the one that we've purchased, which will save us money in rent. And it's just going to be a really nice addition to our portfolio. Our zero waste plan is being developed. We have a draft plan, and Ruth Abbey is here. She'll discuss that. Our sustainability plan is in the process. Becca's going to talk about that. And we are continuing to develop an RFP for our pilot waste reduction plan for the government center and courthouse. And I'll share that with the Sustainability Commission as that starts to find a point where we're going to put it out for advertising. I just want to give some news out that we have a new planning director. We want to thank Tom Schaefer for his steady hand that he has had over the past over a year that he's been the interim planning director. And we really appreciate the work he did as the planning director and the transportation manager, doing both jobs at the same time. So we're very grateful for his hard work in keeping the department moving. Gina Burett, she brings 20 years worth of experience in private industry as a consultant. She has a master's degree in community and regional planning from Temple University. She actually lives in Delaware County with her family. She's on the board of the DVRPC. She's served as the treasurer, secretary, and vice chair of the board at different times. She's involved in the transportation improvement plan preparation and approval process while she was on the DVRPC board. And her experience and connections with external partners, I really believe that will strengthen the county's position in receiving the attention and resources available from these groups that we deserve. Her vision is to be a leader in coordinating planning across the county and strengthening ties between the county and municipalities, the surrounding counties, as well as agencies and planning partners such as PennDOT, DVRPC, and SEPTA. We're really looking forward to having her come on board. And of course, she'll be a part of our Sustainability Commission moving forward. And so she'll be able to introduce herself maybe at the next meeting, actually. So I just want to mention at our last meeting, we talked about all of these great grant opportunities that have come about recently. And the one was this pop-up DCNR fall opportunity. And so we have a project that Delaware County has put out there. We are going to submit a grant application for the Chester Creek Trail, Knowlton Road Trailhead parking expansion. And of course, the application deadline is 10/27. So we are prepared to submit that application. If you would like to know any more details about this project, please let me know. I'm not sure if Tom Schaefer's on this call today, Becca. I didn't, or Carol.
Yes, I am.
Oh, cool. Do you want to say anything about that by any chance?
It's just been, a long time coming. We've had the trail open since, I believe, 2016 or 15. And we've had a, extreme shortage of parking for the trail ever since it opened. So this is a great opportunity to expand the parking lot there. And we're looking forward to hopefully getting this grant. So thank you, Francine.
Thank you so much. And I think we're trying to actually fit in some EV charging stations, which would be awesome if we can do that. So moving along, another piece of work coming out of the planning department under Tom's leadership during his interim role there is that a Vision Zero RFP was advertised. And this is being paid for through ARPA funds. And this Vision Zero, if you're not familiar with that means, it means that we are going to have a plan to reduce injuries and deaths from motor vehicles and creating healthy, equitable access to traveling throughout the county without worrying about being injured or killed. And it is a big deal. It's a big issue. And Delaware County definitely has a lot of areas where we need to see that improve. But I just wanted the Sustainability Commission to be aware that we are going to have a consultant come on board. Tom, would you want to say anything about that? I think you received your proposals recently.
Yeah, I do want to add something, and that is this plan, once it's finished, will give all of our municipalities the opportunity to apply for the Safe Streets and Roads for All funding for implementation. That is improving our streets and roads and bike and ped facilities to reduce injuries and deaths. So that by having this plan done, it will allow all the municipalities to qualify for and hopefully receive the implementation funding. So that's really the end game here, and we're really excited about it. And I wanted to thank you, Francine, and also Howard Lazarus for taking the lead on this really and allocating the ARPA funds as well as County Council.
Awesome, thank you. This will definitely benefit the county and all municipalities for sure. So we're looking forward to seeing what comes of that. Interesting update on our Office of Sustainability. The Foundation for Delaware County, we have been working with them for about a year now, trying to show the good work we're trying to accomplish as an Office of Sustainability. One of the first things that we introduced to the foundation was our sustainability conference. And the foundation was very supportive to us in terms of guiding us in the right direction for developing a business plan and making the right connections for having this very successful conference, along with Laura Goodrich-Cairns, who helped us actually get the venue as a donated day from the Stadium Authority. But through that process and working through the Foundation for Delaware County, we have been given the opportunity now. We've signed an agreement with them that we are going to be considered a charitable project. And so we will actually be able to accept charitable contributions to this fund, and all of the funding will go through the foundation. and it will be used for different projects like the conference that we're going to host again. But in addition to that, when we complete our sustainability plan, we will have dozens and dozens of specific actions that we will want to implement. And this is a way for us to get funding outside of government and grant funding. So we're really, really pleased that the Foundation for Delaware County has been so kind as to bring us on and be our fund sponsor. So we're very excited, and I hope to share more with this commission as we move forward on different projects that will come up for this. So Delaware County is also hosting an election campaign sign recycling event, 2 of them actually. Our Chief of Elections Board, Jim Allen, has given us a lot of emails for the Republican and Democratic political parties. We've sent out emails inviting the different candidates and their offices and all of the parties with this information about please bring your signs to this location, which is our Emergency Services Training Center on November 18th and 19th. And then December 2nd and 3rd after elections. As you know, there are tons and tons of election signs everywhere. And what we'd like to do is have the folks who put them in place, bring them to this event, and we can actually take the metal posts and separate them from the signs, and we can do some recycling. So please get the word out that we are doing this event. We'll be sending out more emails, and it seems to be like it could be very exciting. Montgomery County did this, and they had a very successful event. So we hope to see the same. Talking about the sustainability conference, our 2nd annual sustainability conference, we're going to be able to host it at Widener University this year. And the dates that they have offered us are June 7th and 8th. We'd like to see June 7th be an evening reception where we could actually have a fundraising opportunity there, where we can have sponsorship levels and folks come in and actually sponsor the conference and other initiatives that we share through a fundraising campaign. We have not developed a fundraising campaign yet by any means, but we do have a concept here, the conceptual idea of a reception on June 7th. And then day 2 would be a conference. And interestingly, this year it's a 3-tracked conference. We're going to have students from K to 12. We've actually reached out to the superintendent of the Upland Chester School District, or Chester Upland School District, and he was very receptive to having his students and staff come and join this conference this year. Then the 2nd track would be university or academic technical track with different speakers who are in that area of research and development. And then track 3 would be similar to what we had at our conference last year, or this year actually, which are sustainability practitioners, everyday sustainability heroes, activists, advocates, telling their stories and inspiring all of us. But there's a lot more to come. This is all conceptual at the moment. This is what we're looking at as it's moving forward now. Just to give you some information about Becca and I, we are honored to be able to join PJMCCC, which is the Cities and Communities Coalition that works to influence the grid. So we're working with different cities and different counties on trying to find ways to get the grid, meaning PJM, to have more renewable energy options that are local and regional. So we're having our first in-person meeting. It's in DC. And I just want to let you know that that's what we're doing on October 26th. That's where we'll be. And at our next Sustainability Commission meeting, we can share out what we've learned. Penn State Extension, they sent out a communication to us asking us to share the word that they had this Delco Garden Contest Winners Award. These guys were awarded for their good work in master gardening. And even more importantly, for next year, we have announcing the 2023 annual garden contest. So this is, I want you guys to really consider sharing this with folks, because now we know about it. I don't think a lot of us knew about this going on, except perhaps Ed McGarty. I know you're on the line here, but we want to help promote these things. And so they have different areas here. So spring gardens, azaleas, rhododendron, peony, I can't even say it, but they have different summer ornamental gardens, community and residential vegetable gardens. And so please get the word out. And there's a website here that you can check out. I wanted to share with you also that we had a really nice site visit that kind of warmed me up, because we did a hike. So the Parks Board, the Green Space Task Force, and some county folks, and Mark Mantry's there if you see him, and Steve Beckley, and Karen Wilwall, our staff members. We had a really awesome hike and meeting. Stephanie here is the president of the Parks Board. Mark, are you still there? If you're still here, I don't know. I know he wasn't going to be able to stay the whole meeting. But this was such an awesome hike. Stephanie is so knowledgeable about this park. She had a binder with her with photos and stories about this, the historical significance of this site. And if you ever have a chance to, you should really try to go to the Glen Providence Park for a walk. It was pretty awesome. That was this week we did that. And then once again, I just want to remind everybody that there is an EAC gathering that's on October 22nd at the Haverford Community and Environmental Center. Please check out the website. There's a registration process, and there was a lot of work was put into this. Becca participated in trying to help organize this event. And so please consider looking at that and attending. And that's it. Thank you.
Just wanted to do a shout out for the EAC meeting that our very own Ed McGargy will be speaking on MS4. So thank you, Ed, for that.
Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome.
Jacqueline?
Yeah, hi. So about the event at Widener, I just wanted to share that I teach a class about sustainability. And so if there's an opportunity where I could get the students to help engage, I know they'll be officially done by then, but I mean, leading up to it, would love to just help out and talk further about that, because then they can just see how they can practice what they're being preached about.
Definitely, Jacqueline. We'll be in touch for sure as we try to develop the agenda and the speaker lineup and workshops for the students for the K-12. I want to say thank you to Jim McLaughlin for actually introducing me to the Widener University folks. I think that really helped with getting us in the door. We're working with the Dean of Arts and Sciences and the COO there. So thank you for that, Jim.
And I wanted to mention too, I think there's a student chapter of the American Society of Civil Engineers at Widener, and they may have an interest too in helping.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll keep everybody up to date as we move forward. We're going to be having, I think, monthly meetings with Widener to discuss as we move forward. And Jim McLaughlin talking to Newman next. Thank you. And then Swarthmore, absolutely.
Does anyone have any other questions for Francine? Any comments or questions for Francine? Okay, thank you, Francine.
Yeah, actually, I posted mine in the chat.
Oh, you did?
But so probably you'll get to it. But I was looking for a link to the PDF for the campaign sign recycling. I've mentioned it to a number of people, but I'd like to be able to circulate it.
I'm happy to send that around in our follow-up email.
Becca created that flyer, by the way, in like 5 minutes, which was pretty awesome.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'll share my screen. We'll move on to the next item in the agenda. The next item on the agenda is zero waste update. Ruth Abbey.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ruth Abbey with Zero Waste Associates, and we're assisting Delaware County with the development of its 10-year municipal waste management plan. And this is envisioned to be a zero waste plan, and elements of that plan will be incorporated into the county sustainability plan. So we've been very excited to be collaborating with the county, and it's been almost a year, Francine, that we've been working together. So I wanted to give the commission an update about where we are. We have a preliminary draft plan that was circulated to the advisory committee, the zero waste subcommittees of the Sustainability Commission, and also presented to the public. The draft of that plan is on our website, which is delcopa.gov/workshops for a shorthand URL to get there. And we are still receiving comments, but we did officially ask the advisory committee folks to give us their comments by the end of September. We've been incorporating their comments into a revised draft, which we intend to publish, but we are on a holding pattern from the point of view of our data, because during this last year, the Pennsylvania Department of the Environment did a statewide waste characterization study, and we wanted to use that data in our analysis. Our preliminary data is based on national statistics, and we are hoping to use statewide data to be more specific to Delaware County. And the reason it's very important is because we use that data not only in projecting diversion potential of the actions that are being recommended for implementation, but also because it's important for our life cycle analysis. So Jeff Morris, who's with Sound Resources in Seattle, has created a life cycle analysis module for us that's specific to Delaware County. We are missing the module on waste characterization, and as soon as we get that from the DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, we can finish that off and show, you know, the scenarios of zero waste scenario, continuing to incinerate or go to landfills, et cetera. And so we're really eager to present that in the revised version of the plan. We keep hearing from the DEP that it's imminent. The study is done. It was actually completed in 2021. So, I mean, it's supposed to be released at any point, and it is going to be presented. Elements of it are going to be presented at the end of this month. So we're hoping to get our hands on that data so that we can update and revise our analysis and incorporate it into the revised plan. In anticipation of that, we have scheduled the next meeting of the advisory committee for December 2nd, which is a Friday at noon. And I believe the registration portal is on the website, and everyone is invited to sort of see the big reveal of the analysis and the next steps. That is assuming that we get the data in time. So there is a potential of delaying that meeting again, just because I think it's really critical to get this data in order to produce the revised plan. And fortunately, we are ahead of schedule from the required compliance cycle. Every 10 years, the county must submit a plan that is technically not really due until next year. So we do have a little bit of wiggle room, but the intention is once we have a revised plan, we will circulate that for a 30-day comment period, have a public hearing, and then produce a draft final plan to be reviewed and adopted by the county council. Hopefully, we are still planning for that in late winter, early spring. So you'll see an announcement for that. In the meantime, we are not going to be idle. So what we've been doing in the meantime has been focusing on the implementation plan. And I just wanted to share my screen. Many of you have seen these slides from my prior presentations, but I just wanted to remind you of our approach to implementation. And we've essentially said that there are 4 main baskets of implementation for the zero waste elements of the plan. And those include leadership, education, and inspiration, zero waste infrastructure, universal collection, and building materials reuse and recycling. Those are our 4 baskets. Each of those has tasks associated with it. For a staff person or a contractor or consultant or nonprofit or community group or NGO, somebody really needs to do these tasks in order to move forward to implement these programs. And so in our draft plan, you will see these task lists along with the associated cost and full-time equivalent effort. Now, full-time equivalent doesn't mean we have to hire 4 new staff people. As you can see at the bottom of each of these slides, 1 FTE for building materials, 1 FTE for universal collection, 1 FTE for zero waste infrastructure, 1 FTE for leadership. Those tasks can be spread over a number of different staff members, or the county can supplement with contractors and consultants. And the conversation that we are having, I've been having over the last month or so, has been with both county staff and authority staff about what is to be appropriately delegated to the authority. So the Delaware County Solid Waste Authority has their own mission and mandate for long-term care of their destructive disposal. And they are working on a transition from moving from incineration in Chester to disposal via landfill at the facility in Berks County. And but of course, we don't want to just move the tons from one destructive disposal facility to another. We want to significantly reduce those tons through waste prevention, recycling, and composting. So in anticipation of that, and in discussions with the authority about their future role, is it appropriate for the authority to look at other models for what their role would be, including supplementing this work with the zero waste infrastructure task. And it probably is. I know, and Jim can speak to this, but they are underway and looking at updating, actually completely rebuilding their 2 transfer stations, which are publicly owned and are absolute jewels, very large 20, 30 acre sites with a lot of potential, which could be redesigned to not just transfer trash, but perchance also do zero waste work. And so we are actively having those discussions with the authority. This is not something that is in their immediate next month, next week future, but as they mull through and think about their strategic plan over the next 10 years, what do they want to be when they grow up? What does the county want the authority to be when they grow up? What does the county council want? What's the vision for the authority? It is a collective discussion, and we are just initiating, those discussions now. Implementation is not necessarily a part of the municipal waste management plan. It may be a secondary discussion in terms of a strategic plan and kind of being a cooperative with the sustainability plan. But it's something that the county and the authority and the commission and others will need to really seriously be thinking about. I spoke to Becca about this, and she's like, our department is only 3 people, so we can't really add 4 new people very easily. So, and that would just be in the zero waste side, along with everything else that the department is trying to accomplish in sustainability. So it will need to be an ongoing conversation. So we are researching other communities just to describe how they go about fulfilling these tasks. Leadership, zero waste infrastructure, universal collection and building materials, reuse and recycling. So we're profiling for the county executive and the county council what other communities are doing, including Center County, Pennsylvania, which has a robust recycling composting feature to their solid waste authority. Gainesville and Alachua County, Florida, similar, and Monterey County in California, to say, what does a cohesive zero waste program look like? How is it funded? How is it staffed? And what are the roles? So we'll, be working on that and hope to present at least the research at our meeting on December 2nd. In the meantime, this is something that the county and the authority staff will mull over, short-term, long-term, as the authority and this county move forward on implementation of zero waste. So that's what I was going to share.
Thank you, Ruth. Does anyone have any questions for Ruth?
Thank you again, Ruth. You're doing such a great job with this, and you're keeping us informed the whole way, and you're also keeping the public involved. So thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for all your work, you guys. I'm really pleased and proud to be a part of this working with the commission and the subcommittees on the vision for the future. So thank you so much for including me in that.
Thank you. Okay, I have no questions for Ruth. I'll share my screen to go on to the next item in the agenda. Actually, it's public comment right now. So for those who are from the public, and also our email address and all the avenues that the public can give a comment or a question, are there any comments or questions from the public?
Nothing in the email bin.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? I mean, anyone else? Okay. No? Okay. All right, with that, I'll share my screen again to go on to the next item on the agenda. And the next item is the sustainability plan update with Becca.
Ready? Give me 1 moment. Alrighty, so I'm happy to provide you guys with an update on where we are moving forward. So with our sustainability plan, Delaware County. So first I just wanted to kind of share a slide about the development process overall, kind of give the overview of where we are or where we were, where we are currently, and then where we're going. So we started this process back in 2020 The Sustainability Commission had an internal subcommittee that really started looking at the transition team visioning and the documents that came out of the transition teams to identify areas of importance and priorities. So through 2021, there were also public meetings and a couple of surveys that had gone around that helped identify guiding principles for the plan, as well as the 6 focus areas of priority. So through 2022, we utilized those ideas that had come from each of those initiatives to form subcommittees on each of the 6 focus areas, and also finalize the high-level goals that were identified through the process in 2020 as well as 2021. We also worked in tandem with Ruth and her Zero Waste Associate team, as well as their public meetings and visioning, to make sure that we were also keeping up to date, so our Zero Waste section worked in tandem with their planning process. So looking forward, we're looking to finalize the sustainability plan structure, metrics, and release the plan in 2023. So I just wanted to provide some sustainability progress by the numbers so far. So as most of you know, we have the 6 focus area subcommittees. We have 72 unique participants in each of those groups. So that number does not include our folks that serve on multiple committees. To date, they've had 29 hours of active meetings across the 6 focus areas, which identified and refined 11 key goals. And they've also identified 19 areas of interest. So for example, our natural resources subcommittee had identified open space, like tree canopy and native plantings, or watershed health as areas of interest. Others would be in our health and wellness. They identified air, water, food, and overall well-being as areas of interest. And then, as you guys know, we took a slight break from our Sustainability Commission meetings that were meeting bi-weekly to shift to some internal investigation. So this shift is really looking from, in the very beginning, the subcommittees were used as a brain trust. Now we're taking all of their ideas, starting to investigate the feasibility of these things, and seeing how it works with the internal structures and work programs of internal departments or existing community groups. So since then, I've had 10 meetings with internal and external stakeholders. This includes groups such as the Delaware County Office of Services for the Aging. I met with the Delaware County Action Agency, the Department of Human Services, among many other groups, just to get a better understanding of their existing initiatives and programs and see how they fit into the goals that our subcommittees have already identified, as well as what their capacity is for taking on additional initiatives as identified through our subcommittee processes. I've also taken this time to review 9 existing county plans to extract action items that align with these goals. And this would allow for another highlight to those goals to ensure that there's a game plan for implementation. So some of those plans include the Delaware County Bike Plan, our Open Space Plan, the Transportation Plan, just to name a few. From there, Fran and I had been meeting internally to try to figure out what kind of structure do we need for actions moving forward. Is it just going to be a list all over the place, or how can we really kind of come up with a methodology to identify future actions of this plan? And we recognize that as the first iteration, we really need to set a baseline for many of these areas, because we can't measure the success of our programs if we don't know what we're starting at. So for many of the goals so far, we've been going back through and adding additional actions of baselining, as well as those for future education and implementation of some of those existing programs. Additionally, we've been strategizing a timeline for the project moving forward. We are now hoping to unveil this plan before our conference, or at our conference rather. So just readjusting our perceived schedule of how that would fit to meet those deadlines. And then finally, we began outlining the narrative components of this plan. So what this included was my going back through each of the meeting transcripts from our subcommittees and pulling out those topics or terms that the subcommittees had identified as important toward the overall understanding, or areas that were worth mentioning, but didn't necessarily fall as a goal or a specific action. So I started to extract those and just do some outlines of things that need to be in the narrative that aren't a specific goal or action. So moving forward, the next steps, some things that we have determined is that our subcommittees are going to move to monthly meetings. And this transition really shows kind of a shift in what kind of information we need from our subcommittees. So in the very beginning, as the first iteration of this plan, we needed a brain trust to really help us narrow down what is the scope of each of these focus areas, what kinds of things are we looking to focus on. And now that we have that, we're looking to shift more of a steering committee mindset. So the staff will backfill potential actions that align with the things that have, or topics that have been brought up. Also guided by background research to make sure that we have the feasibility and the legal authority to do these actions. And then the subcommittees will review these things, vet the county actions, and also identify community initiatives. So it's more of a backfill rather than having the subcommittees need to generate from the ground up, because you guys have already done a great job at like building that framework of what this plan is. Additional steps, I'm going to continue to meet with stakeholders. I know there are tons of community organizations as well as internal departments that are doing so many things to further these existing goals. So we just want to make sure that we're encompassing all of the amazing things that Delaware County is already doing, both as a community and as a government, to further these goals. We're also looking to highlight case studies of community successes in these areas. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you guys know really good examples that align with the goals of our sustainability plan, we would welcome any of those, because we're looking to highlight some of those successes that community groups or government departments are already doing. And then finally, we're going to start writing plan components for review from our subcommittees. The last thing I just wanted to note is looking further out. So once we have our subcommittees reviewing narrative pieces and the actual plan drafted, I just wanted to remind that it'll come to the sustainability plan or the Sustainability Commission for their ultimate review. So you guys are the ultimate reviewer and approver of this sustainability plan. So as we start drafting and getting a little bit more on paper specifically, it's going to be up to this commission to provide the ultimate seal of approval on this plan. So that's what we're looking forward to. Does anyone have any specific questions about kind of our shift moving forward, as well as our existing efforts?
Becca, I just want to add that we will be sharing the plan with council. So ultimately, the Sustainability Commission will be giving that recommendation to council for the county to adopt it. So just want to mention that.
Yes.
David.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Becca. It is very clear from the whole thing with the sudden change in schedule on the review meetings that there was a whole lot more work involved in this than a lot of people had thought. And that when it really got down to getting into the weeds and getting the real details out, it was a considerable effort. And I, would like to commend Becca on her on that effort, and just the scheduling and the wrestling of all those focus areas into schedules is itself quite an achievement. And so the delay, I think, is well, it well serves us in winding up with a much better and better thought out plan.
Thank you, David.
Here, here. I have to agree with you, David. And I see the behind the scenes, and Becca is putting in a tremendous amount of work in communicating with external and internal partners. And the behind the scenes, I think you guys will be very pleased when you see the progress made over these few weeks.
Yeah, and I want to echo those same comments. You've been just doing such an outstanding job, Becca, so thank you.
Thank you so much. The other thing I just wanted to add, I forgot, if you are on our energy or zero waste subcommittees, you're going to have one more bump in the schedule, because as we move to monthly meetings, I'm going to bump it so it's only 2 meetings a week rather than 4 and 2. So this week we will have upcoming week, we will have natural resources and transportation. The following week will be climate resiliency and health. And then the week after that will be energy and zero waste. So just so you know, that's part of the plan. But thank you guys all for your tremendous support. And I know that you guys are, many of you guys participate on one or more of these subcommittees, and we really couldn't have gotten to this point or continue moving forward with a plan without your expertise and passion in this area. So thank you guys so much. And I look forward to where we go from here.
Thank you. Thank you again, Becca. Does anyone have any additional questions for Becca? Any comments or questions? Okay, hearing none. We'll go on to the next item on the agenda. The next item on the agenda is Capital Improvement Program and Public Works. Danielle Floyd.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you all again. I think I had the opportunity to be introduced when I first started about 7-ish months ago. So nice to be back with all of you today. Becca had given me some very good guidance about material to cover for the purposes of Sustainability Commission. So I'm just going to pull up my slides and provide you with an overview of our work here in Public Works. So just to kind of level set the team here in terms of who we are and what it is that we do. And I think you heard Francine reference it earlier that we are all in the middle of budget planning and preparation for 2023. And so with that opportunity, I was presented with the opportunity to really think about and reflect on what our mission is here, being under the sustainability umbrella. And we've sort of landed on and think about our work as we are the investment arm of the sustainability team. It is our charge to invest in our county's physical environment to ensure that they are safe, efficient, and sustainable. The county owns 70, now 71 facilities, since we just went to settlement on 2 West Baltimore and Media, as well as the stewards of 16 parks and a number of trails that are going to be growing. And so our job is to invest in those in order to allow for my colleagues and their various departments to be able to deliver the best services to county residents in the end. And our second big task in the office is to prepare and implement and oversee our capital improvement program, and to really be data-driven in identifying investments that are required and needed in order to advance the county strategic goals, as well as the goals under our sustainability team. I wanted to share a little bit about the capital improvement program and to talk a bit about some of the projects that are underway. But I just wanted to share, and this is something that with many of the projects that are happening within Public Works, we really spend some time thinking about our values and mission in terms of what is it that we're looking to accomplish, or what is it that what do we desire to achieve. And so there are some real values that are built into our capital improvement program. And I just wanted to note for the commission's purposes that sustainability, accessibility, and being equitable is absolutely one of the values that is driving how we think about our investments moving forward. Oops, sorry about that. So this year's budget is $57.4 million. Of that, about $40 million is committed to facility improvements at various county campuses, and another $7 million is committed for improvements for our parks and open space. And I'll talk about a few of the projects that we have underway or under construction. But the first thing I wanted to share with you, and this touches again on making sure that our capital investments are driven by data. Some of you may be aware that in late 2020, beginnings of 2021, the county engaged a third-party consulting firm to complete a facility condition and needs assessment, so FCNA, to identify what our immediate and future needs were, both by system as well as by the different campuses across the county. And this information is being fully integrated into our planning for 2023 and beyond. But what you'll see is outside of some of sort of the bottom line immediate need investments, that you'll really see it's sort of interesting when I looked at the data in terms of where the needs were and how much of our budget and our investments proportionally actually reflect our investments in the campuses as well. And so significant needs here at our courthouse complex here in Media, followed by George W. Hill Correctional Facility, which the county assumed management and oversight of earlier this spring. Investments in our Fair Acres campus, as well as the facilities in Lima, and then followed by emergency services. And then we have a small number of facilities that we have in Chester. Similarly, on the park side, you can kind of see where the needs were distributed by the county parks that are owned. And as I talk about some of the projects that we're doing, our investments really do follow and informed by this information. And I'm actually really proud of that in the short term, the time that I've been here, really being able to demonstrate that we are putting dollars where they are needed most. So let me just provide a sample of some of the projects that we either have underway or under construction. Wanted to start with kind of our how we're integrating sustainability into our building design. The first is that we are going to be transitioning very soon into repurposing one of our facilities in Lima for the Delaware County Health Department's headquarters. And under Francine's guidance and with her support, it'll be the county's first LEED for existing building certified facility once construction is completed. And really excited to be able to be part of that and to bring that to fruition. Also similarly at the Lima sort of Fair Acres campus, we're going to be renovating our medical examiner's office and library services offices. And then again, you heard, as you saw in the needs distribution, making investments at George W. Hill. There's a significant need to update their kitchen facilities and also to address heating, cooling, and ventilation at that campus as well. And so we've committed dollars to start those projects. In the parks and open space, and want to thank Mark Manfrey. I know he was on earlier, but not on now, and also Ed McGargy. It's great that we're all reporting through Francine and under the sustainability umbrella, because it presents the opportunity for us to co-plan and collaborate and really break down some of the silos, and allows for Public Works to really be supporting the initiatives and investments that my colleagues have identified to further their work. And so we've got lots of things underway that the capital budget is supporting. Certainly the purchase of the former Don Guanella property. You heard Francine mention it earlier that there's an advisory committee working on thinking about use, and we'll look forward to supporting and planning for and budgeting for improvements at that site. You also heard Francine and Tom Francine was talking about a lot of our trail work and work that's being led through Tom Schaefer. And so we are investing in the first segment for the Media Smedley Trail Connector. We're currently in design for that. That's being led through my colleagues in planning. Again, if you refer back to that sort of needs distribution that I've shared earlier, Upland Park was the site with the greatest needs, at least in the short term. And so if you go over there now, we've got a playground that's being installed, as well as a multi-purpose field and walking path that will be in place for next year. And one of the things we needed to do was be able to manage stormwater on site there. And so the walking path is utilizing porous pavement as a way to manage water retention and drainage on site, which is very exciting. And then again, I think you heard Francine mention this, which I think also again underscores and underpins the way that we are looking to further advance and support the work within sustainability funding. The Greenways Grant Program. So we are our capital budget supporting round 2, and then looks forward to also supporting what comes out of round 3. And then finally, supporting the county's conversion to an electric fleet. And so we have earmarked $1 million in this year's budget to support the conversion of our fleet to either electric or hybrid. We currently have 15 vehicles that are in use, but 31 that are on order, as well as installing EV charging stations across various county campuses. Right now, we have the chargers installed in Upper Darby, at our Lima campus where Fair Acres is, and then in our Amber Street lot here at the Government Center complex. So moving forward, we are deeply involved in finalizing our proposal to County Council, to our Executive Director, and then to County Council to present proposed investments for 2023. And I think there are really some exciting things that come out of that. One, we just recently hired a county architect, and one of our charges next year is going to be working on creating equitable and sustainable design standards to be utilized in our various county campuses so that there's a uniformity in our approach to renovations moving forward. Major effort, which I think Francine connects to a lot of the zero waste conversations that and presentation that happened before in terms of digitization of our records. Moving to LED lighting for many of the county parks. And then, as you heard Tom and Francine reference again earlier, the Chester Creek Trailhead improvements. So we're providing matching funds as a way to help boost and hopefully support successful award of a grant from DVRPC to move that project forward. Our Department of Health, as well as our probation offices, are in a building in Chester at 5th and Penn, and we've got significant renovations that are planned or we're recommending to implement for 2023. We want to, given that we are continuing our investment in our EV infrastructure, looking to complete a master study and plan for where we install charging stations moving forward. It was part of the AGFIT grant in terms of potential sites and wanting to provide some more technical analysis about kind of where's the low-hanging fruit, where we should start and what those costs are and how we can not only provide EV access or charging access for county vehicles, but how we can also begin to make this accessible to the public for use. And then certainly continuing our purchase of EVs for 2023. And so as Beck and I were talking and thinking about how to prepare and speak with members of the Sustainability Commission, I always like to end or conclude my remarks and presentations with how you can help. I would start and sort of preface by saying that we are very much in the early stages of building the necessary foundation to be to run the department and staff the department to be equivalent to the amount of work that we anticipate putting out over the next 3 to 5 years, which there will be a lot, over $75 million in investment in the county. And one of the things that we committed to, or I've committed to in 2023 as part of our development and thinking about goals and outcomes, is expanding the firms who we're doing business with. And so if you are aware specifically of architectural engineering firms with expertise either in civil engineering, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineering, landscape architecture, please connect with Becca and we thoroughly welcome the referrals and the opportunity to be introduced and have conversations to see if there may be opportunities to engage these firms in future business and projects that are going to be moving forward. So thank you all so much for your time and attention, and Francine and Becca for your continued support as I'm transitioning in and wanting to get everything up and running and started. But I hope you all are excited about what we've started and looking forward to being able to give you more updates as our sustainability plan gets finished, our zero waste plan gets finished, and looking at ways that we integrate that into our capital investments moving forward. So thank you so much for your time.
Question, Danielle, I just want to see if you could share the responsible contractor ordinance, because I think that falls in line with our equity piece here.
Yes, so in June of this year, County Council passed a responsible contractors ordinance, which is now applicable to projects that are valued at $500,000 or more. It lays out specific requirements with regards of the use of craft skilled labor on those projects, as well as sets forth requirements on hours for OSHA certification and participation in a Class A apprenticeship program. One of the other items that was passed with that ordinance was a resolution to further encourage our ability to contract with minority, women, disabled-owned, Delaware County-based businesses and contractors. So our diversity, equity, inclusion officer, Lauren Footman, is leading, we currently have a disparity study advertised, which is the first step to be able for us to be able to put in some specific participation goals that we would be looking for in our contracting, specifically on construction contracts. And so right now we are encouraging and hoping for voluntary participation, but intend to transition to building that into contracting opportunities moving forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
This is Melissa. Can I ask a question? And I apologize because I got a phone call, and Danielle, I missed your entire presentation and I'm bummed because I really wanted to see it. But I know this is being recorded, right? So I will catch you up later, or catch myself up on it later. But if you mentioned this, I am so sorry, but is there, I was on the capital improvement project task force or work group last year. Does that have a role in your model as you're going forward? And is it going to be the same group of us? All right, you're nodding. I'll let you go ahead and speak.
Oh, no, it's okay. So we did make revisions to, so yes, we reestablished the CIP steering committee for this year. The membership configuration, and we probably, I would say, Francine, probably cut it in about half of the number of people that we had on the team for this year. And we had a series of 9 meetings starting in late May through September to go through the recommended capital improvements in the area of information technology, facilities, parks, and open space, small equipment, non-IT, and fleet. And so that committee was engaged in not only ensuring that our final recommendations align with the values that I talked about earlier, but providing and vetting and providing direction and vetting our recommendations for what is being proposed in 2023.
Awesome. I was just curious, like, where in the process everything was, and that sounds fantastic. Thanks for the update.
Of course.
Sorry if you ended up repeating.
No, it's no problem.
Well, thank you so much, Danielle. Exciting times. Does anyone else have any questions or any comments for
And just,
Danielle?
yeah, just a quick question, Carol. Danielle, you said like 70 some facilities. I believe that number was.
Mhm.
The question is, are those all owned by the county? I didn't know we
Mhm.
owned facilities in Chester, so.
Yes. 3.
Okay, so we got to get together and talk about what needs to be on our MS4 permit.
Okay.
Yeah, in the future. Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Carol, if I might interject, it's Mark Manfrey. I can tell you the transition since Danielle's been here has been so smooth, and her expertise in the field of CIP and particularly working with our team at the Park and Recreation Department has been a great shot in the arm, and she's done great work, and I credit her team for moving such projects along as the Upland Playground and the Upland multi-purpose facility, an area in an underserved area of the county, and it's going to be great for that community. And I can't thank Danielle and Francine and the sustainability team for their hard work in this. I've been here a long time, and I haven't seen the movement and progress in our department like I've had in the last 10 months. And I've been here a long time. It's great. It's really great.
Thank you, Mark, very much.
Yeah. I hope everyone will come to a ribbon cutting, Mark, when we finally get everything finished at Upland. It's going to be such a transformation. And it was the first groundbreaking that our department was able to have. And Mark was emceed the event, but I'm really excited for it. I mean, it's going to just be such a transformation. And like Mark said, it's the first of lots to come, which is really exciting and meaningful to be able to provide an improved resource to the residents in Upland.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Danielle? Okay, thank you so much again, Danielle. And I will share my screen so we can go on to the next item in the agenda. The next item on the agenda is the Delaware County Conservation District business. Ed McGargy.
Yes, Carol. I have a couple easy things, I think. There's 2 things that I'd like to have the Sustainability Commission weigh in on. The first is having the Sustainability Commission become a nominating organization for directors of the Conservation District. The Conservation District is formed under the Conservation District law, and we have to have nominated organizations. We currently have like 13 of them out there from various portions of the government and from Delaware County Farm Bureau, Chester Delaware Farm Bureau, the Home Builders Association, Darby Creek Valley Association, Delco Anglers, to name a few. I would like to see if the Sustainability Commission would like to petition the State Conservation Commission to not be responsible for finding directors for the Conservation District, but to be able to nominate directors. Once they're nominated, the County Council can't appoint anyone to the board unless they come through a nominating organization. And I thought the Sustainability Commission would be a perfect avenue for having such nominations move forward to County Council to advise them. So I'd like to get a motion. I wouldn't want to make the motion because I'm part of the Conservation District.
Would Francine or Becca like to make any comment about that? I mean, I think it makes sense, but.
Sure. So Ed had come forward with this idea. We think it definitely fits in with our existing charge and would fall under that category of providing necessary like feedback or support to county council, as we would be helping provide additional nominees or appointees for their nomination. So we definitely think it falls within the charge. And I just wanted to add, we do still have quorum if the commission feels ready to make a motion today.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion that the Delaware County Sustainability Commission become a nominating organization for soil, was it the Soil Conservation Service? Is that what?
Conservation District.
Conservation District. Would someone like to make that motion?
And Ed, does the Sustainability Commission need to make petition to the state to be an applicable organization to make those recommendations to council?
Yeah, the way it would work is the Sustainability Commission would sign the petition, forward it on, the Conservation District Board would acknowledge the action, and then forward it on to the State Conservation Commission for official action.
I'll make that motion as Siri Adam.
Okay, thank you. Is there someone who would second that?
I'll second it.
Okay, thanks, Jacqueline.
Please.
All in favor?
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so moved. It was passed.
Okay.
So whatever the next step is.
Yeah, we're just going to get a signed form. I'll talk to Becca about that.
All right.
The next thing is related to this in a way is that the Conservation District law allows cities, 2 and 2A counties to eliminate the requirement for farm director. We had not moved on this in the past because the prior interpretation was that if we remove the farmer director requirement, that we could never have farmers on our board. We currently have 3. It is very difficult to maintain farmers on our board because every one of the farmers that we currently have are legacy farmers. In other words, we have 3 people that have been from the Linville family. It's the mother and now his son from Arizapa Farms, the Bates property. And we have a wife, husband that was on our board, and now his wife is on our board for the farm members. The new interpretation is that we can take the farm requirement out, and then county council wouldn't be restricted. They could appoint a farmer or a public member to our board. I think it would be advantageous just for the ability of the county to be able to have the directors that they feel needed to be on our board.
Ed, what's the definition of farmer?
Farmer is anyone that makes $10,000 from agriculture.
Any kind of agriculture.
Any kind of agriculture. It could be nurseries as well. We've had nurserymen on our board before.
So the nurseries can do it as well, but it has to be a minimum of $10,000 revenue annually.
Yes.
So why does the Sustainability Commission have charge?
Okay, that's a good question. The reason I thought I would bring it towards the Sustainability Commission is that it's a sort of a large issue that needs to be recommended to County Council. I just thought the Sustainability Commission may want to weigh in on whether that was a good idea or a bad idea, so County Council would have some input into that decision.
And Ed, to respond to Scott's question, this is not something that needed a formal action, was it?
No,
Or we
it's
have
not.
to vote? Okay.
It's just the advised County Council. Right, I talked to Elaine Schaefer about it already, and she knows about it, but just the idea of what is the best avenue for the county.
Okay.
And who do you
So-
think your historical members have been from Linville only?
We had 3 members from the Linville family since the beginning. There was Paul Linville, Larry Linville, and now Steve Linville.
So what you're saying is the Conservation District has this board, and on the board is a requirement for farmers. And you're asking Sustainability Commission to recommend to the County Council that the Conservation District no longer have a requirement for a farmer on the board.
Correct.
Is that a summary of what you're saying? Okay.
Yes, it is.
And how many members are on the board?
9 members are on the board. We have 5 public members and 3 farmers, plus 1 representative from County Council.
And what does the board say?
What's that?
What is the board saying? Are they
Conservation District Board is behind this because we have had problems in the past where it used to be that you had to have 2 nominations before you can make an appointment. One year we had to wait almost a year and a half before we could appoint a director for the farm director. And it's very hard to get, we have 2 organizations that can nominate farmers per se, that know farmers, the Chester Delaware Farm Bureau and the FSA, USDA FSA committee, and they have never nominated. The Chester Delaware Farm Bureau will nominate people. As a matter of fact, they gave us Steve Linville the last time, but they don't want to nominate anybody unless they're a member. So it's hard to get the members in Delaware County.
Do you know when the requirement was established that farmers were, they would want directors to be, some directors to be farmers? Like, do you know?
Yeah, that was established with the Conservation District law in the 50s, I believe. The Delaware County Conservation District was formed in 1970. Then in don't quote me on this, 1989, there was revisions to the law where this waiver requirement was allowed to be entered because they recognized that Philadelphia would never be able to do it. Philadelphia is the only county without a district now, but they've come close a couple of times to becoming a district. Pike County is another county that's having problems, but it's basically the population and the pool of potential directors is so low that even the Census of Agricultural does not allow us to release names of farmers or keep a list when they could give the information on the census because the numbers below 100.
Ed, would it be sufficient to simply say, you know, is there a minimum number of farmers that you're required to have now on your board?
Right now, yes, we have to have 3 with a 9-member board.
Would it be better to simply say at least 1? I mean, would that be an acceptable, you know, it would still be assuring representation from the farmer community, which I assume was part of the original point, to make sure that farmers' interests were also considered on the board. And you know, if you had a requirement to have at least 1, then you're meeting that without making it overly burdensome. And also at the same time, if we are becoming a nominating body for you, that is perhaps also easing some of the nominating issues you mentioned.
Oh, there's 2 ways to do that. One, you can eliminate the farm requirement, and that does not restrict county council from appointing farmers that are nominated, which is that was never an option before, it just became an option. And then the second part would be, yes, you can change the order and require less farmers to be on the board too. So we could do what you would suggested, 1, but my feeling would be it would be better for county council to have the power to appoint who they thought would be best for the district board.
Ed, did you say that there's only like, so if the Sustainability Commission is okayed, we could nominate farmers that exist in Delaware County outside of the membership organizations, correct?
Yes, you can. If you were approved as a nominating organization through the Sustainability Commission, you could nominate farmers or anyone else, public members.
I think I'd be more comfortable with David's suggestion about the reduction to 1 as opposed to elimination of farmers.
Okay.
I still don't see why we have standing on this. I guess it's a recommendation, but it just seems like it's the Conservation Board's recommendation, the Conservation District Board's recommendation to County Council. That is what is most important.
Scott, it may also help just to remember in the structure of the Delaware County under like the branch of sustainability, there are the 6 departments. So like Public Works falls under the branch of sustainability, the Conservation District falls under the branch of sustainability, as well as others. So I think that also kind of provides the justification of recognizing that you guys are the commission that recommends or provides sustainability recommendations, and this is a department that falls under the county's sustainability branch.
Okay, I understand.
So that may be one of the justifications.
Is there anyone else that has any questions or comments about this? So is the action that we have a recommendation for, maybe even what Laura said, that it be reduced to 1?
I don't think there is an action. That's the whole point. We are not taking.
We're
an
just discussing it. Okay.
We're discussing it, and Ed, will convey the sense of his sense of the discussion, and anybody else is free to convey their sense of the discussion to county council, and this is what we talked about, and I think that's as far as it needs to go.
Is there anyone else who'd like to share any comments or thoughts on this that maybe haven't been expressed? Okay.
Just like what is that now I will try to get it the petition on the county council's agenda, and then have the county council will be able to take public comments on it too, on whether or not they want to proceed down this path. But so.
Okay. Well, thank you for bringing both of those topics along to the commission meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll share my screen to go on to the next item in the agenda. Review the action items from the last meeting. So let me take a look at those action items from the last meeting. One of them was to repost the open committee positions, and that was done. And so that could be taken off of the list. The other item was to double check this subcommittee invite list. Do you know if that was done? I think that was for the sustainability plan, I believe.
Yeah, I think there were originally.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Was someone talking? Yeah, I'm not sure who that was, Becca.
I think originally, there were some folks not getting the invites. I think Scott was on that list, so I went back through and made sure. Scott, were you getting those after?
I think I was, and then it got canceled, so I never actually got to a meeting. So I'm waiting.
Okay, sweet. So that was what that was in response to from last time.
Oh, okay. And let's see, there's another item. Provide subcommittee access to the capital program. I think obviously, like, Danielle made a great presentation today, so I think we're aligned really well now. I mean, and I didn't think we ever were not aligned, but I think that can be taken off the list, I think.
And ultimately we will, so the 2022 CIP is published on our website, and the 2023 will be as well after it's adopted by council.
Okay, thank you. I'll share my screen to go on to the next item on the agenda. Oops, sorry. Oh, okay. So, is there any new business? Is there any new business that anyone wants to bring up today? Okay, hearing none. I'll go on to the next item on the agenda. Set action items for the next meeting. So, I think what I had on my list was that hopefully the new planning director can be here at the next meeting to introduce herself, and then we would hear back from Francine and Becca on the PJMCCC conference, I think. Those are the only items I had on my action item list. Were there any other ones that I missed, like Francine or Becca?
I have to send the political sign information to everybody.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right.
I think one more thing, the Greenways grant awardees at some point will share with this group.
Okay. All right, just writing that down. Okay. Let's see, I'll share my screen to go on to the next item on the agenda. Oh, the next agenda item is public comment. Is there any public comment? Anyone from the public attending today's meeting here or through the email?
No emails.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment or any public comment? Okay. All right, thank you. So I'll share my screen. I believe adjournment is just the next item, which is correct, adjourning. So with that, if there aren't any other questions or comments or anything, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
Okay, thank you. Would someone second that?
Second.
Okay, Scott. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so moved. We're adjourned today. Thank you so much. It's one of my favorite meetings ever. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Have a good weekend.
Carol.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye.